pleased to have you with us again. Here are some notices that are talking about things that are upcoming and things for you to do. Enfield Over 50s Forum meets every Monday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon at the Dugdale Centre, Enfield Town, and offers help, advice and the services of a solicitor, income tax advice and CAB. For more information, contact 020 8807 2076. The Walker Ground in Southgate holds its annual firework display on Saturday, 2nd November. Gates will open at 5 p.m, with the firework display starting at 8 p.m. Advance tickets are available until 31st October and cost £6 for adults and £4 for children, or £15 for a family ticket, which is 2 adults and 2 children, giving you a vast saving of, you work it out. Contact 07501 945 316 for more information. Enfield Choral Society will be performing Dürulf's Requiem and Vaughan Williams in Windsor Forest and 5 mystical songs at their autumn concert at Christchurch United Reformed Church, Chaseside, Enfield, at 7:30 p.m. on Saturday, 9th November. Tickets are £12, £10 concessions in advance, and £14, £12 concessions on the door. Contact 07856 793 434 to book tickets. And also on Saturday, the 9th of November, the Enfield Rotary Club is putting on their annual fireworks show at Carter Hatch Junior School. Tickets are £4.50 for adults in advance and £6 on the night, or £14 for a family ticket in advance only. Gates open at 6:30 p.m. and the fireworks start from 7:30 p.m. Now here's something new. Enfield's new integrated care system and older people's assessment unit. You can have your say on how this service should be developed. So if you want to have your say, come along to hear about the plans and tell us of your thoughts and experiences. And that's happening on Friday, the 8th of November, 2013, from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. And it's happening at Green Towers Community Centre, South Mall, next to Edmonton Green Library, at 7 Plevna Road, Edmonton. Refreshments will be provided, and they would like to hear from older people who have recently been a patient, either in hospital, or who has visited their GP practice, or if you care for someone who has. So join them and hear about the proposed changes to care services in Enfield. And remember, if you don't go and you don't have your say, you can't complain afterwards. Now, we return to local news with Sonia, who is awake.
Enfield has the highest level of private renters needing housing benefit to cover their living costs in the capital. London's Poverty Profile 2013, a research project carried out by the New Policy Institute on behalf of the Trust for London charity, found that, with 56%, Enfield ranked number 1 for the proportion of private rented households relying on help with rent. Meanwhile, Edmonton Green, the borough's most deprived ward, ranks 4th highest in London for people claiming out-of-work benefits. Key findings in the report include an increasing number of working families in the capital living in poverty, with the majority of them residing in outer London boroughs. In Edmonton Green, where the report also says 1 in 5 households are overcrowded, 27% of working-age adults are in receipt of either job seekers allowance, incapacity benefit, or income support. In 7 other wards, including Enfield Lock and Ponders End, it is 1 in 5 adults, 20%. Overcrowding statistics, in which Hazelbury Ward and Upper Edmonton rank highly, further suggest a chronic shortage of affordable larger homes in the borough's poorest areas. The report found that the housing benefit cap, introduced in 2011, meant that many residents in Enfield had had their housing benefit cut because of the lack of affordable rented properties. This is likely to be exacerbated by other caps, forcing poorer families to seek cheaper places to live in outer London, it said. Jeff Rodin, chairman of the Board of Trustees of the Enfield Citizens Advice Bureau, told the Advertiser that the service had recorded a substantial increase in demand. Between July and September 2012, the number of clients who approached the service was 2,649. This rose to 3,500 over the same period this year. With more benefit cuts to come, Mr. Rodin said, we are going to get to a stage where we will be unable to deal with demand because funding available for CABs is not being increased. The report noted that Enfield is a borough with 2 distinct halves, with 7 wards in the east of the borough, home to more than 20% of households claiming benefits, while in 6 wards in the west, the figure is below 10%. Enfield Council leader Doug Taylor said, "What we see nowadays is that many working families are caught up in a perfect storm of low wages and high housing costs. Considering Enfield does not have a huge social housing stock, we have lots of households claiming housing benefit. What the council needs to do is to continue to provide new homes and jobs through regeneration schemes, such as Meridian Water." Mr. Taylor added that because of grant damping, which is applied to council funding from central government to protect local authorities from volatile changes, Enfield loses out to the tune of £8 million compared to inner London councils.
A group of pensioners in Grange Park say that the council's plans for a new road island will not address their safety concerns, as it has been put in the wrong place. Stanley Nately, 80, and William Hewson, 91, both of whom live in retirement accommodation in Home Willow Close, say they have been asking the council for a pedestrian crossing across the Grangeway for 2 years, but to no avail. The pensioners, who submitted a petition to the council signed by more than 400 people last year, are angry. The authority is now proposing to install a road traffic island in Vera Avenue next to Grange Park Railway Station, which they say is the wrong place. Mr. Nately said, "We have been asking the council for a new pedestrian crossing drive for 2 years. The road is busy and cars drive fast here, and a lot of the elderly residents have mobility issues and difficulty crossing the road. There's no point in putting up a road island further up the road, as we will have to walk all the way up the road to get across. It defeats the purpose, and it's just not what we wanted at all. Council plans include a refuge island in the middle of the road to make crossing easier, the removal of a number of car parking spaces and improvements to the pavement. Councillors say that consultation has been carried out on the £29,000 project, which has been approved by the Grange Park Residents Association, is being funded through Enfield Residents Priority Fund and Transport for London, which is contributing £6,000 and enjoys widespread support. Chris Bond, the Council's Cabinet Member for Environment, who approved the plans on September the 23rd, said the authority had considered the pension's plea for a pedestrian crossing near Home Willow Close, but had decided against it because of the impact it could have had on businesses in the Grangeway. He said, there is a day nursery for children near Grange Park Station, and given the scale of the problem for these children and commuters crossing the road there, I think we have done quite well here. It's going to look very nice. Glynis Vince, a ward councillor for Grange Park, said the plans had gone through the proper channels. The Residents' Association approved the plans back in March, she said. There is a small minority of people against the plans, but most people are in favour, and it has gone through the proper channels. More parking spaces would be lost if it is put in the Grangeway, and it is not the right place for it. Mr. Bond added that work on the scheme would begin this week.
From horror movies to chilling by the pool, X Factor finalist Hannah Barrett is loving life in her new surroundings. After moving to Broadwalk, Winchmore Hill, 3 weeks ago, the South London singer told the Enfield Independent how she and the show's other contestants have been settling into the £5 million mansion. It's going really good. The house is very loud, but we make a great family, the 17-year-old Croydon singer said. We were really close before, and now we are living together, sharing rooms. It's like one big sleepover. It's not what you're used to, and the fact that Lionel Richie used to live here is the final touch for me. The North London surroundings are somewhat alien to the contestants, and Miss Barrett admitted that there has been little time to explore the area. Hannah, along with the remaining 10 acts, performed love songs on Saturday night's live broadcast, and she safely made it through to the next round.
A mother whose 6-year-old daughter has been without a primary school place for nearly 2 months due to an influx of families into Enfield is demanding that the council takes action. Mum of 2, Carly Kerwan, aged 24, of Bowood Road, Enfield Highway, is furious that after moving into the borough with her family in August, her daughter Kia has not been placed in a Year 2 class. Carly, her partner, and her 2 children, Kia and 1-year-old Zaiden, moved from Birmingham to London. After letting the primary school in Birmingham, where Kia was a pupil, know in March that she would be leaving at the end of the school year, Carly filled out a school transfer application form. Excuse me. And although she did not know the exact address of where she would be living, she knew it would be somewhere in North London. When Carly and her family found a home in Enfield in July, they informed the local authority they would have a permanent address by August the 5th. However, in the last week of the summer holiday, they were told that Kaya had been unsuccessful in her application for a primary place and had been placed on waiting lists for a number of schools in the borough. I was under the impression that hopefully a couple of weeks into term, maybe by the middle of September, she would be in school. But it is nearly half term and still nothing, said the furious mum. Adding to Carly's disgust, when she rang the council and asked for homeschooling materials, she was told that if she wanted to, she could buy some textbooks in Waterstones or W.H. Smith. I'm her mother. I can only do so much. I'm not a trained teacher, said Carly, and she is 6 years old. She needs to be around children of her own age. When the Advertiser contacted the local authority, Enfield Council's Cabinet Member for Children and Young People, Aoife Oren, admitted that there had been a high number of children moving into the area in recent months, and this had created great pressure on the availability of primary places. Although Mrs. Orhan admitted that the council could not offer learning resources to children left without a school place, she told the Advertiser, "We are in a position to offer Kaya a place at our emergency provision that has been set up to support children and families who are waiting for a school place. This is being managed by the Bowes Learning Alliance." However, at the time of going to press, when the Advertiser contacted Kaya's family, they said they had not received any details about any emergency provision.
North Middlesex Hospital has been described as fantastic following 2 inspections. Quality and safety standards were met by the hospital in Stirling Way, Edmonton, in 2 inspections by the Care Quality Commission in August and September. Wonderful staff and a very welcoming maternity team were among the superlatives given by the CQC. The checks come as the hospital prepares for an influx of patients following the potential closure of Chase Farm Hospital's accident and emergency and maternity wards. North Middlesex Hospital's Director of Nursing, Paul Reeves, said, "It's an excellent report which shows the progress we are making as a hospital." The first inspection took place over 4 days, checking the hospital's A&E services, outpatient clinics, and 2 wards for older people. A second inspection reviewed the maternity unit. Inspectors spoke to midwives, doctors, and 16 patients in the antenatal clinic and postnatal wards. Mr. Reeves added, "The praise from patients is especially welcome. It is essential that when a patient comes into our hospital, they find they are well cared for and that their hospital experience and outcome is as good as they expect it to be." To hear patients expressing words of praise and thanks is very humbling. CQC inspectors wrote, typical comments from patients included, "The night staff were great, very attentive, and the nurses were constantly checking on me," and "I'm well looked after, the staff are wonderful." We found all areas of the hospital we visited to be clean. A patient told us, "It's a wonderful hospital, it's always clean."
Good. Enfield is facing an ever-increasing strain on council services as close to 1,300 homeless families from other parts of London have been placed temporarily accommodation in the borough. Following an investigation by the Advertiser, it can be revealed that 1,296 homeless households from the neighbouring boroughs of Haringey and Barnet, but also from as far afield as Kensington and Chelsea and Westminster, have been placed in privately rented accommodation in Enfield by other authorities, which have a duty to house people in need. Haringey Council is the most prolific and has now placed 618 families in the borough, up from 534 in November 2012. Meanwhile, inner London authorities, Kensington and Chelsea, Islington and Camden, have respectively moved 137, 102 and 80 households into Enfield. Enfield Council, which estimates that around 100 families arrive in the borough from inner London each month as a result of rising rents and benefit cuts, says the figures were worrying due to the strain new arrivals were putting on already stretched public services. Ahmed Okenia, Cabinet Member for Housing, said Enfield generally has cheaper properties than inner London, and this tends to attract agencies and landlords who will buy up homes and approach other local authorities, especially if they are willing to pay more. It will still be cheaper than renting properties in their own boroughs. Last year, the authority embarked on a major primary school expansion programme because of acute demand. However, at the same time, the accident and emergency and maternity units at Chase Farm Hospital in the Ridgeway are due to shut in the near future. Mr. Oikina added, "We knew the benefit cuts were going to affect us, and the adverse effect is the strain it will put on Enfield schools and social care services as people move here with their families. It also gives us difficulties in finding properties for our own homeless. The effect of all this will be that you will get a corridor effect with inner London getting rid of its benefit cases, but outer boroughs taking the strain." The council said that at the end of September it had 2,139 households in temporary accommodation, with 182 placed outside the borough. Mr. Oikeda added, "The government's belief that if you leave things up to market forces, the sector will sort itself out is quite wrong. But we are not just sitting down and complaining. We're looking at providing new council housing because the lack of affordable homes is the real problem."
An entrepreneur turned international mogul is now helping people escape the rat race and start up their own business. Laban Rooms, 43, started his business Genie from a friend's living room in 1995, creating gold plating for car number plates. Now, after investment from BBC television show Dragon's Den entrepreneur James Caan in 2007, Genie has become an international phenomenon, and the Enfield businessman is helping new entrepreneurs set up their own businesses. Much like the gold customization that made him famous, Crystal Genie is a home-based start-up kit allowing entrepreneurs to customize everyday items using genuine Swarovski's crystals. The Dragon's Den conqueror revealed the rationale behind his new business opportunity. He said, "This is an affordable opportunity for people to get their hands on something which is very much in demand right now. We are always getting customers who want crystal-engraved items. The pack will offer step-by-step instructions on how to set up the system, and this is something which can be done from home. There are so many different areas people can go into, from clothes to iPhones to anything which is solid. People want things customized." From humble beginnings, Laban is still amazed at the roller coaster journey he has taken since winning investment in the Dragon's Den 6 years ago. He added, "It's been amazing. We bought James Caan out earlier this year, so I now own 100% of the business again. We're so excited to be launching this new opportunity. We hope this will build up people's confidence and help them get onto the business ladder."
Excellent. I just need a Swarovski crystal frying pan at home. A man has been jailed for his part in a gangland shooting of a shopkeeper last year. Kubilai Taban, aged 30, of Ordnance Road, Enfield Lock, pleaded guilty to perverting the course of justice at the Old Bailey last Wednesday, when sentenced to 2.5 years behind bars. He was found not guilty of possession of a firearm. The shooting happened on September the 28th, 2012, outside a supermarket in Stoke Newington High Street in North London. Rival Turkish gang members confronted each other, and the 35-year-old shopkeeper was shot in the hand as he tried to break up the standoff. Kainer Caracas, aged 31, of Plumstead, southeast London, was found guilty of possession of a firearm and jailed for 8 years. He pleaded guilty to perverting the course of justice and was sentenced to 2.5 years to run consecutively. Detective Chief Inspector Gary Bruce of the Trident Gang Command said, "This attack was carried out by dangerous, violent gang members who had set out, armed with a loaded firearm, determined to endanger the lives of other Londoners."
Enfield has a new youth parliament following an election which saw thousands of pupils cast their ballots during the last 2 weeks. Teenagers at 15 secondary schools, aged between 11 and 19, and disabled young people up to the age of 25, elected 16 new members of the Parliament, which will work with councillors over a 2-year term on issues affecting young people in the borough. The borough was carved into 4 constituencies: Chase, Edmonton, Enfield Lock and Southgate, with 27 candidates standing and more than 9,600 ballot papers completed. One of those elected in the Edmonton ward is Eda Kazimoglu, 15, a Year 11 student at Palmer's Green High School who lives in Woodstock Crescent, Edmonton, and whose mother, Alev, is a councillor for the Enfield Highway ward. Young people often don't have a voice, and that's why the Youth Parliament is really good, said Edda. I want to set up an area online forum where young people can post ideas, and I want to engage with young people about work experience. There are cutbacks to youth clubs and extracurricular activities, and that is a real shame. I believe we should speak out about that. The budding politicians will meet 6 times a year, attend the Council's Children and Young People's Scrutiny Panel, as well as the Children's Trust Board, and will be asked to present to a full Council meeting. Speaking during the election results night at Enfield Civic Centre in Silver Street on Friday, Bambus Charalambus, Cabinet Member for Culture, Leisure, Youth and Localism, said, I am proud to see so many young people embrace the challenges of the borough we live in and do so with passion to make a difference to their lives. This process teaches you about responsibility, respect and how to express yourself when important decisions have to be made about service delivery to young people.
We have reached the end of our programme for this week. Thank you for listening. So, from the team of Sonia, Audrey, Jenny, myself and Keith on the controls, it's goodbye.
Goodbye.
Please remember to turn over the address label in your postal packet, put the cassette into the packet and return it to us as soon as possible, in readiness for the next edition. And don't forget, you can call Diane de Jersey regarding any help you may require in connection with Enfield Talking Newspaper. The Enfield Talking Newspaper will be with you again in 1 week's time.